Hi, Connie. Can you introduce yourself quickly?
My name is Connie and I'm based in Hong Kong. I'm a front-end software engineer that uses AngularJS, HTML, CSS, SAS to build web applications. So I really like anything that's related to web, JavaScript in particular. At work, I use AngularJS, but I also learn Angular and Vue.js in my spare time and build a pet project to sharpen up my skills.
How did you learn about CodeBuddies?
Okay, so it was last year October when the Oktoberfest.
Oh, Hacktoberfest?
October, yeah. And I wanted to make some pull requests to earn the free T-shirt.
Mm-hmm.
So I was looking at some of the issues, and the CodeBuddy issues caught my eyes because I think most of the issue was related to front end, and I'm working as a front end software engineer in Hong Kong, and I look at the issues. They are not that difficult, and I'm quite confident that my skills should be capable of solving some of them. So I think I made maybe 2 or 3 pull requests during the month. And after that, I kept working on the projects and made a few more pull requests and became one of the core contributor of the project.
Yeah, I remember you contributed a lot of really amazing features that nobody else was working on. And you came from an Angular background, right? What was picking up Meteor like?
Well, because I knew some people in the Hong Kong tech community, and his name is Daniel, and he's a consultant who uses Meteor.js to make web application for clients. He came to a few meetups and talk about Meteor.js, and he showed some demos to the attendees. Even though I didn't write a single line of code, I had some idea what Meteor is. I had some idea what the code looked like. I knew that how to look for resources on the topic because Daniel provided a lot of useful links in his presentation in other local meetups before. So I was like, well, I think at the time I believe I could do the pull request because Meteor is just JS and I know JS. I should be able to work on it. If I cannot, I can always go to the website of Meteor or look at the free Meteor.js book to see the syntax or look at the relevant examples and apply them to the code base of CodeBuddies.
So if you scroll down, you can kind of see all of the pull requests that people have made. Your username, Rail Student, appears many times.
Oh yeah, really. I guess I just fall in love with the project because you said I am the MVP of the project, but at the same time the project helps me because I while working on the pull request, I actually practice ES6. Because before I worked as a front-end software engineer, I was an IT support. I didn't require to do a lot of coding. So my skill set was stable for at least 4 years. So my supervisor told me that I need to improve my skills to pick it up so that I can contribute more at work. Therefore, I was very grateful that CodeBuddies showed up at the time so I could work on these issues and practice ES6, JavaScript, handlebar, and maybe back-end coding at the same time.
Cool. Thank you for sharing that. I'm very surprised that so much has gotten done. I think it's interesting that a lot of the changes are sort of invisible, like they're bug fixes or infrastructure fixes that you can't immediately tell when you use the site, but it's there and it's an improvement to the code base.
I'm happy that the changes are actually used by people.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think a lot of new people join CodeBuddies and start to contribute, and that's what I really want to see. I don't want to have 2 or 3 people doing all the work. I would rather have 10 people, each of them works a little bit. That will produce more in the long run in the project.
Yeah, I agree. what's the first feature that you want to talk about?
I added this iCalendar button.
Cool. So the problem was that users on Macs couldn't add a Hangout scheduled on CodeBuddies to their iCalendar, and you added the Add to iCalendar button.
Yeah, and because this one is like the effort is not very high because it is only like front end work. It involves like HTML, JavaScript, and CSS changes without the need to touch the MongoDB on the server side. So do I show the files changed it?
Yeah, that would be perfect.
Okay. So I changed 5 files, but the majority of the changes is on the first 3 files because the last 2 are JSON file. I think I added translation in the English translation file and the Spanish one.
Cool.
Yeah. So there's a story behind it. Like, even though I own a MacBook Air, I also own a laptop with Linux distribution. I have a Linux Mint in another like laptop that I sometimes use, and because thanks to that laptop, I know that my initial implementation had issue. Therefore, I need to like rewrite the existing solution the second time to get it working in Linux, Windows, and Mac environments. So so in the HTML file, I just add a button that allows people to add the event to iCalendar, and that button only shows up if the hangout hasn't finished. Therefore, I have the condition like, unless the hangout is not completed, render the button so that people can add the event to the iCalendar in their MacBook machine. The ICS download link will generate the iCalendar file in a string, and then the download attribute allow me to save that string into a file called hangout.ics in a local directory of the machine
of the user's MacBook. I see.
Yes, MacBook or Mint distribution or Windows.
Okay.
Initially, I don't use the download attribute, but without it, if people click this button in a Linux or in a Windows machine, a text file with the iCalendar string will show up in a text editor, such as maybe Notebook or VS Code. So if users see that file, they have no idea what that gibberish is saying. Therefore, in my second implementation, I add the download attribute equal hangout.ics. So if Windows user click this button, the file is saved into the local computer, or in the computer locally, or in a laptop locally. They would not accidentally open the content in a editor and wondering what that string is saying or what they need to do next to import the event into Outlook or into the Google Calendar.
So this refers to the Hangout itself and ICS download link.
Yeah. So the ICS will have the hangout name, when it starts, when it ends, the description of the hangout, and maybe other information, etc. So, and then the logic is written in the hangout _action _buttons.js file. So I have helper function. Yeah, I have a helper function here
called ICS download link.
ICS download.link, and inside it's very straightforward. I just use JavaScript to write the event into a string and then return it to the browser, and let the browser handle the downloading for me. Because otherwise I don't know how the client side can save a file into someone's machine, because I think file saving.
So this is the second feature that we're going to walk through today. And in this pull request that you made, when a user joins a study group, they can see who else is online in that study group, and they can also save their current status, right, in the members tab. So say that the study group is going through a like Learn Python the Hard Way book. In your current status, you can update it to say that you're on exercise 31, and then you can see other members' statuses.
Yeah, that's the idea behind the pull request. So the feature is that it is a new feature. So I need to create like all these new files for the member status table and the online status of the member. So all of let's see. Yeah, so member status.html is the member status table. Oh, see.
So you
Wait,
created
no.
a new
No,
template.
I think this one is the member status is the text area.
Yeah, it's the text area where you input your status.
I think this is new. So I create new template with the text area and then limit it to 140 characters. It has a helper function current status that return all the members under all the members that belong to a study group. And then the next line is return the status of the current member of the study group, and then that value will appear in the test area. It means that if the member comes back to the study group, they can edit the status and then press enter to update the status in the table below. Yeah, so I have members is an array that return all the members, and I filter by the user ID of the login user and return the status.
Cool. If it exists, otherwise you return an empty string.
Yeah, this is the default value. If this member has no status.
Yep.
And then I define some event handlers. So, okay, so I have a key up event for the test area. Okay, the ID of the test area is status test. Says that, okay. So it should have at most like 140 characters. And when users starts typing in the start typing in the test area, I find the number of characters in the text area, calculate the difference, and then render like how many characters remain. So if I start typing here, you will see that the number of character left decreases.
Yep.
Yep. Okay, and then I have a key press event for the test area. So see. So if the key is not is enter, like 13 is enter, then okay, find out the current value in the test area. If it is an empty string after trim, show an error.
Yep. So basically you're doing client-side validation now for what the user has typed in.
Yeah. So I didn't enter anything, so I wasn't allowed to save the status in the MongoDB.
Mm-hmm.
Oops, here. Okay, so now I know that the status is not an empty. It's not an empty string. So I create an object. Status is the current status of the member. Study group ID is a study group ID that is in the URL.
Mm-hmm.
So I call the flow router to get the study group ID from the URL. Okay, so and then I make a server-side call. I call the update user status for study group. Pass the object to the server side to update the document collection in MongoDB. Okay, and then the callback either return an error or a success result. So if the callback returns an error, so bird.alert will return a toast message at the top right position of the browser.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, a success model is displayed.
Mm-hmm. Right, you get that alert. That's the sweet alert which says, "Thank you for inputting your status."
Oh, this one I clear the status area,
Mm-hmm.
and then the next line reset the number of characters left back to 140.
Mm-hmm.
So this is blank, and the value is restored to 140. And then in here I add a new template that render online members. Okay, so and then here study group members.html. I think is yes. So member status is the test area, and then I change the member list to member table. So table is this part.
Mm-hmm.
Three columns: the avatar, the username, and the member status. So this is the first column cell, the avatar. This is the second column cell, which is the username. And if it is clicked, the, the user is redirected back to the profile page. And then the last column is the status. Okay, so loop the members array and render each member in a single row. Yep, that's it. And then here, this study group online member is the template of the online members. So okay, so here I iterate the online users array and render the online users avatar.
Yeah, so it would display each of the online members' avatars.
Yeah, if it works, it should show the avatars of the online members. So now I need to find out how I obtain the online users array. Okay. Oh, here, I have a helper function to do it. Okay, so meteor.users return all the users, but I'm only interested in the users that are currently online. So I find users where status.online is true. And then, okay, and I only need the ID field. I don't care about the maybe other properties. So I have fields, colon, and then an object, and then ID colon 1. And then, okay, Okay, and then fetch, and then dot map returns an array of user ID back to the online usernames variable. Next, I retrieve the study group from the MongoDB. I pass in the study group ID and ask study groups collection to return the study group back to me. And then if there's a study group, I return the users that belong to the study group, and they are also online at the moment. If there's no study group, I return an empty array.
Makes sense.
And then on the server side, I have to add a new server side method to update the current status of a member. Okay, so I add a server side method update user status for study group at the end of the file. So this function accepts a data object. I need to do the server side data checking. So I need to ensure status is a string and it is a required field. Similarly, study group ID is also a string and it is also a required field. And here's check that the user ID exists. So if it doesn't exist, server should throw an error message to the client side. Yeah, like the user must log in a CodeBuddy to update the member status. So on line 443, need to check that the user has right to update member status. So I need to validate that the current user is either a member, a moderator, an admin, and owner of the study group. If the user cannot, has no access right to update the study group, then server returns a full 3 HTTP status code back to the client, and the error message is access denied. If all the checkings passed, then I update the study group's collection in the MongoDB. Okay, so I update the study group's document with the same study group ID and member ID, and then update the status of the member and the modification time of that member document.
To be the current time. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, in localhost, do type control M.
Yeah, I forgot. Is it control M, not command M?
Yeah.
Here. So let's see, study groups. Right, so look up by the study group ID and the member ID, and then modify the status and status underscore modified at.
So do you want to go to the members tab and
Sure.
type something?
Modify status.
Okay.
Yep.
Yay.
So,
can we see those
yep.
fields changed?
Oh, I think this is UTC time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If I add 8 hours back is the current time in Toronto. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Awesome.
So
yeah, thank you for doing the code walkthrough for that.